Hello, students. Our topic of discussion today is capacitance. Now, capacitance is defined as the ability of a conductor to store charges. Now, the device which stores electrical energy in the form of electric charges is called a capacitor. So, we have a device called capacitor which has a certain value of capacitance. So capacitor is a device and capacitance is its property, and capacitor, as I told you earlier, it is a device which stores electrical energy in the form of electric charges. So basically it stores electrical charges. What is the function of a capacitor? You know, some appliances need very high current of the order of 50 ampere. It is a very high amount of current because the total current, you must have seen the rating of the main fuse of your houses. The rating is only 30 ampere. That means the total current of your house does not exceed a total of 30 ampere. Now if some device needs a current of a higher value, say 50 ampere, how will the device get that current? It will get through a device called the capacitor, which keeps on storing the charges, and when it is set into action, it discharges a very high amount of current. Let's proceed now. If you have an electrical circuit, how are you going to denote capacitor? With the help of a diagram, the symbol for a capacitor is, it is like a battery, but the two lines will be exactly equal. In a battery, one of the lines will be longer and the other one will be shorter, and in a capacitor both the lines are of the same size. Now, how do you define capacitance of a conductor? Capacitance C is charge per potential difference. This is not volume, this is potential difference. So it is nothing but the ratio of charge to potential of the capacitor. Now coming to the SI unit. SI unit you can derive from the formula. Unit for charge is coulomb, unit for potential is volt, so you can write it as coulomb for volt, or in physics we commonly use the unit farad for capacitance denoted by F. Therefore farad is nothing but coulomb per volt, so 1 farad will be equal to 1 coulomb per 1 volt. So if you want to define farad, you will define it this way. It is the 1 farad is the capacitance of a capacitor in which 1 coulomb of charge causes a potential difference of 1 volt. This is about the SI unit of capacitance. Now, later when you'll be solving the numericals, you will see that the value of capacitance usually will be given in microfarad, nanofarad, because this farad is a very huge amount of capacitance. So usually we don't use farad, we use micro and nano. These are the practical units of capacitance. Now we will learn a type of capacitor called the parallel plate capacitor. You know, capacitor may be of different shapes depending on how they are made. They may be spherical in shape, they are called spherical capacitor, but the capacitance of these type of capacitors are less. We also have other type of capacitor depending on their shape. It is called cylindrical capacitor. Okay, but in your syllabus you just need to learn about parallel plate capacitor. Now what is a parallel plate capacitor? As the name suggests, you have two plates kept parallel to each other like this, separated by a small distance. Say the distance between these two plates is d. Now the space between these two plates may be filled with air or any other medium with a dielectric constant equal to K. Now let us find out the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Let's find an expression for capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. Now let us have two plates. I'll name the plates as A and B. As I told you, they are placed parallel to each other at a distance D. Now let A1 and A2 be the areas or surfaces of these two plates which we have kept, and we assume that A1 will be equal to A2. So we assume the areas of these two plates are exactly equal. Now let us have plus Q charge on this face of this plate A and minus Q on this face of this plate B. Now the capacitance of this capacitor is defined as C is equal to charge contained in the capacitor. Don't take it as plus Q minus Q is equal to 0. We call it that the charge contained in this capacitor is Q divided by delta V. This delta V is the potential difference between the two plates here. Now, electric field intensity due to plate A. Now, if you recall your application of Gauss theorem, we had applied Gauss theorem to find electric field due to an infinite plane sheet of charge. Now here we consider these two plates each as a infinite plane sheet of charge whose electric field intensity by applying Gauss theorem we had calculated it to be sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Now this sigma is the surface charge density for plate A. Similarly, for plate B, again it is an infinite plane sheet of charge, electric field due to which will be sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Now, in between the plates, what will be the net electric field? It is given by E net in between the plates. It is because of plate A and plate B. So we are just going to add up EA and EB. Replace the values here. EA, okay, E will be equal to E net will be equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus again sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Adding these two, you will be getting sigma by epsilon naught. Now, this sigma can be replaced by its expression for surface charge density, that is equal to Q by A. This Q by A is equal to sigma. We are not writing sigma anymore, into epsilon naught. So this is the net electric field in between the two plates here. Now we will proceed to find out the value of capacitance for this parallel plate capacitor, putting the formula Q by delta V. You must be wondering where this delta V came from. It is a potential difference between the two plates. Now, we have not arrived at any expression for delta V, but we have arrived at an expression for E. Electric field intensity was equal to Q by A epsilon naught. Now for this delta V, we are going to use one expression called potential gradient. It is delta V by D. It is the rate of change of potential with respect to the distance from a reference point is equal to electric field. So electric field is also defined as delta V by D. Now just cross multiply this, you will get delta V is equal to E into D. So we are going to replace this delta V here. So C will be equal to Q by delta V can be written as E multiplied by D. Furthermore, QE can be written as Q by A epsilon naught, and we have D. Just simplify the terms here. You will be ending up with the expression epsilon naught D epsilon naught A divided by D. This is the expression for the capacitance of a capacitor. From the expression, you can see that capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor or any capacitor solely depends on the dimensions, that means area and the distance between the plates, which is fixed while designing, and epsilon naught is the medium in between in which the two plates have been kept. So there are three factors which decides the capacitance. It is the medium, it is the area, and it is the distance between the plates. Let's now find out energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. For this, again we will consider two plates at a distance d from each other, whose charges are plus q and minus q each. Say the plates are A and B. Now, to find out the energy stored in a capacitor, we will first find out the amount of work done in transferring some amount of charge from one plate to the other. So let us consider a small charge dq, okay, which is being transferred from B to A. So you are taking dq from B to A. Now it will not come on its own, so you have to do some external work, and that external work is only stored in the form of potential energy. Now, the work done in transferring this charge dq from B to A is given by dw. Okay. Now let's do a bit of calculation here to find an expression for dw. You know, potential is equal to work done per unit charge from the basic definition of potential. Or you just cross multiply here. dw will be equal to dq into delta V. Alright, so we can write it as dq into delta V. Now this delta V, again we will go back to the definition of capacitance. You know, capacitance is charge per unit potential difference here, or delta V is equal to dq q divided by C. So we will replace this here. So dw can be written as dq into, from here delta V is equal to q divided by C. So we'll just put it in a proper way, q by C dq. So we are getting a term ready for integration. Why we need to integrate? Because we have just calculated a small amount of work dw. How do we find the total amount of work? It is total work will be integration dw. During the entire process of transferring charge from B to A. Now what will be the limits of integration? Initially we assume that there was zero charge here. While transferring, the charge comes up to be q, so limit of integration will be 0 to q. So let's replace dw here. dw was q by C dq. Now C, you know, capacitance is a constant for a given device, so 1 by C will be out of the integration sign. Inside the integration sign it will be q dq, and as I told you, the limits starting with 0 charge till we get a charge of q here. Now you know integration q dq is q square divided by 2 within the limits 0 to q. Replace the limit of integration here. W will be equal to 1 by 2c. Okay, we had q square within the limits 0 to q. 1 by 2c, put the limits now, capital Q square minus 0 square. It will be 1 by 2 q square divided by c. This is work done, which is stored in the form of potential energy. So U can be written as half q square by c. Or if you don't want the expression in terms of q, we can replace it, because you know c is equal to q by v. So if you don't want this q, just substitute the value. Q will be equal to vc. You can replace it here. This is one of the expressions. Another way of writing it is q half into q square can be written as v square c square divided by c. It is half c v square. This is another way of writing the total potential energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. Or you may not want the term C here, you may want to replace C again. Again, you can use this expression. C can be replaced by Q by V into V square. So it is half Q V square. So you can write it in three ways. By playing with the expression C is equal to Q by V, you can keep on substituting the values, whichever you don't want, just put it here, and you have in total three expressions for potential energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. Now, there is a term called energy density in a parallel plate capacitor. The energy density, as the name suggests, it is the energy per unit volume. So whatever expression of energy you had calculated previously, you can replace it here, divided by the volume. Now what is volume? It is area into the distance for the two between the two parallel plates. Replace the values for C from the previous expressions. Okay, after replacing the values, keep on replacing. The final expression, small u, denotes energy density, is half epsilon naught E square.